Morning, parents. Welcome to our Monday morning meditation. We're continuing our series through the Sermon on the Mount. We've been talking about how we need to have godly character in order to have godly parenting, and we've been looking at the Beatitudes that communicate godly character. And so our passage this morning is Matthew chapter 5, verse 7, and it says there, "Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy." So happy are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. Once again, this is a paradox. How can we be happy if we're being merciful, if we're giving of ourselves and absorbing loss? The world can kind of sometimes see this as, well, the merciful are those who are foolish and those who are weak. The reason why they would think that is because, well, those who are merciful are helping those who are in need, exercising pity, trying to relieve the sufferer. Well, that's foolish because, well, they're in need for a reason. Or, if they help somebody in need, they're going to have to help them again because, why are they in need? And so there can be a sort of a judgmental attitude towards those who are in need of mercy. And so they can be seen as foolish. Or on the other hand, they can be seen as weak because in order to be merciful, you have to absorb loss. We can think about the Good Samaritan. As he goes and he helps the person who is in need, he has to absorb loss of giving up his time, gives up his money, he gives up his resources, absorbing all these losses in order to be merciful. But of course, the Bible doesn't think of it as foolish or weak to be merciful. The scriptures and God himself sees it as, well, it's being godly. It's being like God himself, for he is merciful to us. He is merciful to those who are in need. And so how does this, idea of being merciful and being happy when we are merciful, how do we teach our children how to be merciful? How does this relate to parenting? Well, it's important for us to train our children how to see physical needs and how to see even spiritual needs. So first, how to see physical needs. Well, when we think about siblings and other young kids, oftentimes, right, young kids, they fall down, they get hurt. And so it's training our children how to go and give a helping hand, right, to help pick them up, to ask them if they're okay, right, to see a need and then to be active, proactive into going into meeting that need. So training our children how to be compassionate, how to care, how to be thoughtful. We live in a society, in a world where oftentimes where you see needs out in the world, you see, problems in a classroom, fights on the internet, things of this nature. What's become very common, what I see many videos of, is what young people will do and what even adults will do is they'll pull out their phone and they'll start recording. And they start seeing a problem or a situation and it becomes a source of entertainment for them rather than a need that needs to be met with mercy or with compassion. And so, of course, we want to be countercultural, training our children how to meet physical needs. Another thing that comes to mind that's been common in my household, I think common in this Texas and Houston, is, well, there's a lot of ants out. And it's not too uncommon for one of my children to step into a pile of ants. And then what happens a lot of times is, well, they kind of freeze when they've stepped into ants and they start crying. So what we try to do is just teach our children, okay, here's what you need to do when one of your siblings steps in a pile of ants, is you are to go to them and start, swiping the ants off of them. In other words, we're trying to teach them how to be merciful, to help somebody who's in need, one of their siblings when they're in need. And the reason for this is, well, one of the ways that we think about this is, that's what we do as parents. When we see our children have a need, a physical need, we step into action. And what we're doing is we are being merciful. And so we want to pass that on to our children and help teach them in that. And finally, it's thinking about also not just meeting physical needs, but also training our children how to meet spiritual needs. And so seeing the spiritual needs in their siblings or friends and seeking to help them out in that. One of the ways that this can happen is, just seeing a need of, well, maybe one of the children, one of their siblings are, being tempted with, doing the wrong thing, or they're actively doing the wrong thing. Well, what do? Well, you step in to bring encouragement, to do the right thing, to remind them of what mom and dad's rules are. Here's what mom and dad tells us to do. Here's what we need to do. That's actively meeting a need. That is being merciful, training our children how to see physical needs and spiritual needs and to meet those needs. And one of the verses that comes to mind for this is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 14. And it says there, "And we urge you, brothers, admonish the idle, encourage the faint-hearted, help the weak, be patient with them all." And so none of those there are physical needs. All of those are actual spiritual needs that we might see in a brother or sister in Christ. And we are to be proactive in helping to meet that need. This is what the Lord is teaching us in terms of what it means to be merciful. Physical needs, spiritual needs, being active to meet them. And when we do that, right, for we shall receive mercy. And of course, we are in great need of mercy ourselves, and God extends to us mercy. He extends mercy to those who are merciful. Well, I hope this helps you this week, and I look forward to continuing to build faith in families. God bless.